All right, let's get right into it. We live in this world of cloud computing, AI, instant everything. The whole US economy, this massive $5.1 trillion engine, it feels like it runs on all this modern tech. But does it? What if I told you that the single most important database in the entire country's financial system is, well, basically a technological fossil? And that's not some wild exaggeration. It's the absolute literal truth. This is the heart of what we're talking about today. The one true authoritative system for every single U.S. taxpayer is a direct descendant of a program born in the age of reel-to-reel tapes. It's a pretty incredible story of technology just refusing to die. So let's meet the legend itself. It's called the Individual Master File, or IMF for short. It was created way, way back in 1960, and it is the source of truth for every taxpayer's account. And its roots, man, they go deep into the very beginning of the computer age. I mean, the scale here is just staggering. We're talking about over 100 million active accounts. The IMF was originally built for the IBM 7074 mainframe, and then it was moved over to the iconic IBM System/360. And you have to understand, this wasn't just software you could install anywhere. It was a system that was deeply physically tied to the hardware it ran on. And when you look at the technology it was built on, wow, it really tells the story. We're talking assembly language and COBOL. It uses this old IBM-specific character encoding called EBCDIC, which modern computers just don't speak. But here's the most important part. It was designed around magnetic tape. That means all the data is stored in these long, sequential flat files. There are no modern database features, no joins, no indexing. If you need to find one record, the system has to literally read through every single record that comes before it, every single time. So because it was designed for magnetic tape, you get stuck with this huge problem, a limitation that affects the IRS to this very day. It's called the batch processing trap. This is the basic rhythm of the entire IRS. All day long, new information comes in. Payments, address changes, you name it. But nothing happens in real time. Instead, every single transaction gets put in a queue to be run in one gigantic overnight batch job. So think about this. When an IRS agent pulls up your account, they are always, at best, looking at yesterday's data. And this isn't just some theoretical quirk. On tax day in 2018, the busiest tax day of the year, the whole system just crashed. Now, interestingly, it wasn't the 60-year-old code itself that failed. No, it was a firmware bug on a modern piece of hardware that the old system depended on. This collision of two completely different technological eras caused a total meltdown, freezing the nation's tax data solid. The impact was so bad that the IRS had to extend the tax filing deadline for the entire country by a full 24 hours. Let that sink in. A single point of failure in a system with 1960s architecture brought the entire modern U.S. tax collection process to a screeching halt. So the obvious question is, why not just replace it? Well, this is where the story gets really, really complicated. See, the reason the IMF is still here is because for 60 years, we haven't actually replaced it. We've just built more stuff on top of it, layer after layer after layer. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's an incredible history of technological pileup. You start with assembly in the 60s, then you add COBOL and transaction systems in the 70s, then you have the first failed modernization attempt in the 90s, the CADE project in the 2000s, you slap on some web portals in the 2010s, and now we're trying to add cloud stuff. But through all of that 1960s core has never, ever been removed. It's still the foundation holding everything else up. And the attempts to actually replace it have been, well, spectacular failures. In the 90s, a project called Tax System Modernization completely collapsed after they'd already spent $4 billion. Then in the 2000s, the Customer Account Data Engine, or CADE, was supposed to be the big fix, but it just hit a brick wall. Turns out it was impossible to perfectly replicate all the weird, complex, and undocumented logic of the original IMF. And that really gets to the heart of the problem. To understand why these massive projects fail, there are two metaphors that are just perfect: the skyscraper and the Rube Goldberg machine. This one is just the perfect analogy. You see, the IMF isn't some app you can just turn off for the weekend to upgrade. It's the load-bearing foundation of the entire U.S. Treasury. Trying to replace it is like trying to rip out and rebuild the foundation of a fully occupied skyscraper. It's about as risky and terrifying as it sounds. And here's why it's so risky. There are over 400 other applications that are plugged directly into the IMF.
Many of these systems are themselves decades old, and they were all built to expect the IMF to behave in its own very specific, very quirky way. If you change one tiny thing in that foundation, you could cause dozens of other systems to fail in ways you could never predict.
And then, when you actually look inside the code, you find the real traps. You've got decades of undocumented edge cases. You've got code that's still enforcing tax laws that were repealed 30 years ago, but you can't take it out because some other system relies on the output. And my personal favorite, actual bugs that were never fixed and have now, over time, become critical features that other parts of the system depend on. It is a minefield of hidden dependencies. So all of this brings us to today. After all these failed attempts, all these layers of new tech piled on top, what's the actual reality on the ground for this unbreakable, unmovable foundation of our tax system? Well, this right here captures the insane paradox perfectly. When you or I log into the IRS website today, we're using a modern, slick web portal. But that interface is just a thin, glossy veneer. The data it's showing you is ultimately coming from that 1960s backend, still running assembly code and processing files in overnight batches. And that's the bottom line. No matter how many shiny new systems get built around it, the individual master file is still the final word. Every single refund, every balance owed, every penalty that gets assessed, it is all officially recorded and controlled by this 60-year-old system that was designed to read from magnetic tape. So as we wrap this up, the story of the IMF leaves us with a really fascinating question, especially for anyone out there who writes code. The systems you are building right now could easily outlive you by decades. They could become the foundation for technologies that we can't even begin to imagine yet. So the question is, what will their legacy be?